Have you ever looked around and felt like everyone else is way ahead of you in life? It seems like no matter what you do, other people have more money, more success, and just more of everything. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. It's an incredibly common feeling. In this video, I'm going to break down the 7 main reasons why you might feel behind financially, and we'll honestly examine whether there's any real truth to these feelings. Reason number 1. We judge people by appearances. What we see on the surface almost never reflects someone's true financial situation. Let's take cars as an example. Many people believe that the car you drive directly shows how much you earn or how much wealth you have. Imagine you have $600 a month to spend on transportation. Since you're a reasonable and modest person, you choose a used 2021 Toyota Corolla hatchback for $25,000. Your monthly payment comes to about $424. With gas and insurance included, you're spending roughly $600 a month total. Your plan is to pay it off in 5 years and then own the car outright. Now meet your coworker, Eric. You both earn the exact same yearly salary. One day at the water cooler, he complains that his car payment is killing him, $459 a month. You're surprised because you're driving a modest Corolla while Eric is cruising around in a brand new 2025 BMW i4. At first glance, it looks like he's either lying or living way beyond his means. But Eric is actually telling the truth. What he's not telling you is that he's leasing the car on a 3-year deal with a large down payment he didn't mention. His insurance and fuel costs are also significantly higher. In the end, both of you are spending roughly the same amount each month on paper. But when you look deeper, it's clear that Eric is likely living beyond his means, all for the sake of appearances. Judging someone's wealth by how they look is one of the fastest ways to make yourself feel inadequate. Instead, focus on what you can control and put blinders on everything else. Reason number 2. Spending habits are invisible. Let's say you love investing your money and spending on meaningful experiences, concerts, travel, and creating memories. Your friend Chloe, on the other hand, prefers spending on material things, a nice car, designer bags, jewelry, and getting her hair done every month. She barely invests anything and would rather stay home watching Netflix than go on adventures. Who is actually living the richer, more fulfilling life? I would argue it's you, but from the outside, it might look like Chloe is doing better. The truth is that spending habits can be very different. When someone spends on visible material items, you notice it right away. But when someone quietly builds wealth and collects life experiences, it's much less visible. That's why comparing yourself to people who love showing off their purchases doesn't make sense. Reason number 3. Truly wealthy people rarely show off their money. We often look to social media for role models, how to dress, what to buy, and how to live. But in reality, true wealth tends to be quiet and almost invisible. I once had lunch with my friend's father. He's worth 9 figures. He showed up wearing shorts and a simple polo shirt. From the outside, he looked like any average dad. No luxury car, no flashy watch, nothing that would suggest he was rich. Most genuinely wealthy people I've met are surprisingly down to earth and humble. They don't try to look rich. Another story. I grew up around some very wealthy kids. One girl was always traveling with her family and posting photos on social media, but she only showed normal tourist spots, the Colosseum, the Trevi Fountain, and similar places. She never posted about the hotels, flights, or the real level of luxury. Later, I learned she was flying private and staying in exclusive villas and 5-star resorts. Truly wealthy people often prefer to keep their wealth private. It gives them more anonymity and security. Meanwhile, on social media, we mostly see people showing off flashy cars and bags, many of which are bought with credit or leasing, especially among younger generations. Don't believe everything you see online. Reason number 4. We only compare ourselves upwards. People rarely compare themselves to those who have less. Comparison is the thief of joy. If we occasionally looked at people who don't have reliable food, clean water, or a safe place to live, we would quickly realize how comfortable our own lives actually are. We often compare ourselves based on job titles and career paths, but this can be very misleading. The same title, vice president, can mean completely different levels of responsibility depending on the company, industry, or even the country. Especially in startups, title inflation is common. Companies hand out fancy titles just to keep employees happy and loyal. Instead of focusing on other people's titles, ask yourself better questions. Am I developing my skills? Do I enjoy my work? Am I creating real value? Am I growing as a person and moving closer to my own goals? These are much more reliable measures of progress. Reason number 5, expecting too much too soon. Another reason it feels like everyone has more money than you is because we constantly see highlight stories online of people turning small amounts into huge sums really quickly. On forums like Wall Street Bets, you'll see someone make $100,000 in a single trade or turn $80,000 into over $1 million in just a week. But you're only seeing the wins. Losses are rarely posted, and when they are, they're often devastating stories that take years to recover from. Quick money is extremely rare. Real wealth almost always requires time, discipline, and consistent effort day after day. Don't get discouraged by comparing your normal journey to someone else's rare jackpot. Reason number 6, the grass is always greener syndrome. It's easy to assume that people who have money didn't really work hard for it, but this is classic the grass is always greener. You usually don't see the sacrifices and struggles happening behind the scenes. Someone might have worked 10 years on an oil rig, barely seeing their family and risking their health. An investment banker making great money in his 20s might have worked 100-hour weeks, been constantly on call, and lived under enormous stress. When you see a 30-year-old who has made it, they may have given up a lot of life to get there, sacrifices you might not be willing to make. Reason number 7, hidden family wealth and support. Sometimes people appear successful not only because of their own efforts, but because they receive significant help from family, regular financial support, an inherited apartment, or an investment portfolio. This doesn't mean they didn't work hard, but it gave them a huge start that most people don't have. There may also be emotional baggage that comes along with it. The key takeaway is that other people's financial situations are often far more complicated than they appear. You can't fully understand them, and you definitely shouldn't compare your journey to theirs. Focus on building your own path. Spend time on what makes you happy and fulfilled. Concentrate only on the things you can control, put blinders on everything else, and you'll feel much better and more motivated in your own life.